Still haven't got an intro, but in today's video, we're going to be talking about the best place you can pick up your vintage clothes. Basically, like I was looking at a few different places where I get my vintage clothes, and I was thinking how I could basically tell you guys the best places that you could pick up your vintage clothes. Obviously, we're in lockdown at the moment, can't really go anywhere. I was thinking maybe if you're trying to spend some money, maybe you can find a good place to get some nice clothes. So the first place and the first couple places I'm gonna just get out of the way as places that you just shouldn't go to get your clothes, like Spock, Vinted and Bump. I think like all three of those, they're just like, they're not really that good. Like obviously like Spock and Vinted, they're more just like cheap clothes like Topman, River Island, that kind of stuff. And obviously if you're trying to get nice vintage clothes, that's not what you want. And then Bump, I think it's okay, but it's mainly for streetwear, and this is kind of like more like a vintage list. So like if we do like a tier list, this is basically like tier S, like don't get these, right? And then I think like the next kind of level up from that, kind of like the E kind of section, we're talking like kind of like Vestiaire Collective and Farfetch as well. I mean, these websites are good websites if you want to look at vintage clothes, like if you're looking for places where you can buy vintage clothes. But I just think that it's not really a good place to be getting your vintage clothes because they're just too expensive, man. Look at Vestiaire Collective, like some of these things are just way too much money. There's no reason why they should ever be costing this amount of money, right? And like, you know, once we go higher up the list, I'll kind of show you that you can get this kind of stuff. Like, even though this stuff is really nice and it's presented in a really nice way, you can get this stuff for cheaper if you just look better, right? And Farfetch as well, it's kind of works the same as Vestiaire Collective. Like, it's just very expensive stuff. I think like the next time to tier up from this, like C tier, it's like a good mid-tier stuff, right? We're talking like Facebook groups and Instagram accounts. Now, if you get lucky on Facebook, you can get steals, like no joke. There's one group called High End Auctions Worldwide. It's like one of my favorite groups. There's always steals in there. There's some new stuff. Sometimes there is vintage stuff though. A couple people do drop vintage clothes in there. And you know, if you are quick on it, you can get good deals. You know, there's like the auctions all times of the day. And you can literally go on there like 11 o'clock at night. There's not many people online, and you can snap up some under retail as well. Like if it's like new stuff, you can get some new stuff like under retail, which I think is sick as well. And obviously like more niche groups, like if you are into a certain like type of clothing, like I think Stone Island, they've got like a big group chat. And if you're like obviously into vintage Stone Island, you can pick up those clothes with the people that know what they're talking about as well. So you can tell straight away if you're getting a good deal or not, because people just tell you that, right? So I think obviously that's like a good middle place. And also like Instagram accounts as well, because obviously once you get like engaging with those kind of Instagram pages, you just see more and more of them in your feed. And you know, you kind of like get more into like an Instagram niche of just like selling fashion accounts. And once you get in there, you can actually find some really good prices because people aren't looking to sell and then basically have the fees that they would have if they sold like on Depop or Grailed. So they would have no fees or anything like that. And so you can maybe haggle with them a little bit and actually get better stuff. But I think obviously it's a little bit difficult to actually find these accounts, and it takes a while to get started and know what's what. And obviously there's no like kind of support if someone doesn't send your stuff, and it's kind of all just relying on that person. So obviously you gotta be a little bit careful and do your research when you are buying from these people. But I think obviously if you're smart with it, you can actually get some good deals. Okay, and Grailed is kind of like that C tier, it's like a middle tier. Now, you know, it's not too bad, it's not perfect. I think if you're living in America, it works a lot better because obviously a lot of the sellers on Grailed are actually in America. And so if you're living anywhere in Europe or the UK, the shipping costs to ship from America are kind of ridiculous anyway. And it kind of gets to the point where you're paying a bit too much for your clothes. But if you live in America, you can definitely find good deals on there. You just have to use your filters well and just make sure you find what you're actually looking for. And then I think like the kind of B tier would be like kind of like Depop. I think Depop is a really good website if you do it correctly. And so what I mean by that is, you know, if you're into like the more hype items or more like popular vintage items, or like more generic vintage items, you can definitely find good deals on Depop. But if you're after like one specific thing, I don't think you're really gonna find it on there for a good price. I think, you know, like the more generic stuff like vintage college sweatshirts and like vintage white t-shirts and stuff, you can find them on there. And if you're not really after something specific, you can actually find like a pretty good deal, right? But if you want like a specific band t-shirt or you know, like a specific college, or if you want something more niche, you're very unlikely to be able to find it for an affordable price. Like a lot of those more niche stores on Depop, they're all run, and those people who run those stores, they do not take offers. Like they're not going to be willing to negotiate with you so you can actually get like a good deal for what you want to buy. They're just going to basically tell you, look, it's like £100, you either pay it or you just leave. So that's kind of like, what's that, F to B. Kind of ran through quite a lot of them, and just remember as well, this is mainly for vintage clothes. If you want, I'll do one for streetwear as well, like maybe good places to buy streetwear, like a tier list kind of thing as well. Yeah, I'm not even sure what I'm gonna title this video, but probably like vintage tier list, buying vintage clothes tier list or something, I'm not sure. Anyway, but the number one place to get your vintage clothes, hands down, is eBay. Now you might think, well, why eBay? It's not even like designed for buying clothes. But I think eBay is actually my favorite, because when you buy stuff on eBay, people are willing to take offers as well. Like you can submit the 3 offers thing, and a lot of the time they are willing to take offers on their stuff because they want to get it gone. They're not about just holding stock forever. Like they want to get that stuff in and gone, right? And also because the filters that eBay have are just so good. Like they're so useful when you're searching for one specific thing. So like, here's just a search for vintage t-shirts, right? That's like a super broad topic. And you know, it might be that you're just, you know, when you search for these things, you know, you see a lot of reprints, a lot of stuff that you don't really want. But the way filters works, you can find really good stuff if you just know how to use them properly, right? So what I'm going to do is basically just go into an eBay search for like vintage t-shirts and show you what I would do. And so you can kind of like replicate that for whatever you're looking for, and you can kind of use the filters on eBay to your advantage, right? So this is just a search for a vintage white t-shirt. Basically, look, there's so many options here, there's so many things, and a lot of them, that's not really what we're looking for. So the first thing that I would do personally is just do the size, large XL, because I think vintage t-shirts fit a little bit smaller anyway, so I kind of want it like a bit bigger than a medium. And then obviously I'd go like 100% cotton, but I'd manually go through all these filters, right? So I think one of the most important ones you do is condition. If you go to condition, type in like pre-owned, used, and not specified, that basically gets rid of all of the other ones that are like reprints or just plain t-shirts that are just coming through later. That gets rid of all the other ones that you're not really after, and it kind of just narrows down your search a lot quicker for you. And then obviously you can just filter through them a little bit more if you've got like a certain theme you're after. eBay actually filters by theme as well. And also like if you want graphic t-shirts, short sleeve, long sleeve, just gives you a little bit more options by what you're looking for. And then I think the best thing you can do after that is just filter by price, highest to lowest. If you filter it this way, then by the time you get to, like, obviously I'm not saying buy like £1,000 t-shirts, right? That's stupid. No one's got that kind of money. You get to like the kind of area where you're talking like the £100–150 region, and that's still high, but if you have to something niche, you can find it there. And if you keep going, you get to just like the kind of more average, good quality stuff that's vintage, and you can make offers on it, and it's the kind of stuff that you're looking for, and there's pages and pages and pages of it, and you can go up to like maybe £80, you can go down to like £30, find whatever you want in that sort of range, find exactly what you want. But yeah, so that's basically the video. Obviously if you like it, if you want to comment, and if you want to subscribe, please subscribe. And basically just drop a comment down below if you think this is actually informative in any way, if this will actually help you, and if you know you might actually try using a couple different sites to buy your clothes. And you know, if you're someone who uses Grailed quite often, maybe stop doing that, and maybe try eBay. But yeah, peace.